We all want to feel like we've got a handle on our lives, right? To feel a sense of control. But what if the real secret isn't about controlling everything that happens out there, but mastering what happens in here? Today, we're going to dive into this really powerful idea that true mastery isn't an external game at all, but an internal one.
Okay, so to get us started, let's look at a kind of surprising example from the world of competitive golf. There's a saying among the pros that the better the player, the more they give credit to their mental game. It's not just about having a perfect swing, it's about the focused, the still mind that's behind that swing.
And that right there, it perfectly illustrates the two games that we're all playing literally all the time. On one side, you've got the external game. That's the stuff you can see, the technical skills, the world around you, the people you're up against. But the real leverage, the place where mastery actually happens, is in the internal game. It's all about where you put your attention, the quality of your mindset, and your own self-control. Now, look, this is not some new age self-help idea. No way. The Stoic philosopher Seneca was talking about this 2,000 years ago. He told this powerful Roman official who had just lost his job to stop worrying about the grain market, his external career, and to start auditing his own life instead. That, Seneca said, is the balance sheet that really matters. Okay, so if the real work is all internal, does that mean we should just, retreat from the world, become a hermit? Absolutely not. In fact, it's the total opposite. And this brings us to this incredible central metaphor from the strategist Robert Greene. Your life is a palace, and locking yourself away is a trap. So Greene's big idea here asks us to see the world not as some scary battlefield, but as a grand palace. Think of something like Versailles, right? Thousands of interconnected rooms. The key to not just surviving, but actually thriving, isn't to lock yourself in one room. It's to constantly circulate, to keep moving through all its different spaces and social circles. Our first instinct when we feel threatened or scared is usually to build walls, right? To create a fortress. But Greene argues that's actually the most dangerous thing you can do. A fortress cuts you off from essential information. It makes you a sitting duck, a stationary target. And it just screams to everyone else that you've got something to hide. Real strength is in circulation, in being permeable, in staying in motion. After all, a moving target is pretty hard to hit. But I want to be really clear about something here. This idea of circulating isn't just about selfishly trying to get an advantage. As the author Simon Sinek puts it, the real reason to do it is to stand for people. You move through the rooms of the palace for the people who are in it. The connection itself is the whole point of the journey, not just some strategy to win. So, okay, we have to circulate, we've got to be open. But being open also means being vulnerable, doesn't it? And this brings us to what might be the hardest room in the whole palace and a really powerful lesson from one of the toughest men in American history. All right, so I want you to meet Chesty Puller. This guy, he was a legend. I mean, the single most decorated Marine in the history of the United States. He fought in some of the most brutal battles you can even imagine, and he was known for just unbelievable toughness and courage. But one of his biggest, toughest challenges, it didn't happen on some distant battlefield. It happened in a hospital. He was taking his young daughter in for a pretty routine tonsil operation. And as he carried her towards the operating room, she just got terrified. She was screaming and clinging to him, absolutely refusing to let go. So after this whole ordeal is over, Puller, this absolute rock of a man, this warrior, he goes back to the waiting room and says something to his wife that is just shocking. He says, "This is worse than Peleliu." Now you have to understand, Peleliu was one of the bloodiest, most nightmarish battles of the entire Second World War. So what on earth could make a hospital waiting room feel worse than that? And that single moment, that one sentence, it reveals this incredibly profound truth about what it means to be human. The ability to feel immense love and the ability to feel immense pain. They aren't two different things. They are the exact same capacity. And that really forces us to completely rethink what strength even means. Puller's pain wasn't a sign of weakness. It was proof of his love, his humanity. True strength isn't about building up armor so that nothing can touch you. It's about having the courage to stay open, to be willing to be touched by life, both its love and its pain. Okay, so that's the big question, right? If we're supposed to stay this open, this vulnerable, how do we handle it without just falling apart? How do you build the kind of inner resilience you need to sustain that kind of openness? Well, that's where forging a still mind comes in.
There's a writer, Anthony DeMello, who has this beautiful, simple metaphor for it. He says if you want to heat water, you can't just pour it directly onto a fire. You need a pot, right? A vessel, something to hold the water and transfer the energy correctly. Well, it's the exact same for our inner lives. We need structure, we need practice, we need a vessel to handle the heat of life without just getting burned.
Well, the Stoics, they gave us a really practical vessel for this. Let's break it down into 4 simple steps for turning acceptance into an action. 1, an event happens. 2, you just accept it. It was meant to be, it's part of the bigger pattern. 3, and this is the big one, you stop wasting precious energy fighting it or wishing things were different. And 4, you focus all your power on the only thing you actually control, how you interpret it and how you respond. See, this isn't about giving up. It's about taking your power back from your circumstances.
And this is just so important to get. Acceptance is not being passive. It's not resignation. As the author Joyce Meyer puts it, patience isn't just about being able to wait. It's about how you act while you're waiting. It's this active, engaged way of being. It's about what you do with the delays and the challenges that life inevitably throws at you.
All right, let's pull all of these threads together now. Let's bring it all back to Seneca's big idea about the one balance sheet that truly matters.
It's pretty amazing when you see it laid out like this. You can see how this one big conversation just unfolds across centuries. You've got Seneca laying the foundation of inner mastery. Then Robert Greene gives us this incredible strategy of circulation. Ryan Holiday, through Chesty Puller's story, shows us that vulnerability is actually strength. Marcus Aurelius makes acceptance an action. And then thinkers like John Maxwell connect all of it to a life of purpose. Each one gives us a crucial piece of the puzzle.
And just think about it for a second. The golfer, laser-focused on their mental game. The tough-as-nails Marine, completely undone by his daughter's fear. The stoic emperor, facing yet another war. The parent, just navigating the hardest job in the world. They're all in completely different rooms of the palace. But every single one of them is practicing the exact same art. So, what is this art they're all practicing? It really boils down to these 3 core ideas, 3 practices. First, stay open. You have to circulate through the palace of life. Second, stay moving. Remember, acceptance is an action, not a surrender. And third, stay quiet inside. That's about cultivating the still mind that can handle all the motion and all the openness.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to Seneca's challenge. The green market, the job titles, the followers, all the external stuff, that all comes and goes. The real, lasting work is always internal. So the final question this leaves all of us with is a really personal one. What's on your balance sheet?